welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and I am the owner, creator, and coach for Believe in Better Finances. So it's the weekend. I'm actually working on getting this video pre-done just so that way I'll have some available to post kind of on a steady weekly basis per se. But for today's topic, I actually was thinking about holding off until the springtime to discuss this, but I don't know, just here recently, as you may have seen in my previous video, I was talking about basically how our current neighborhood is booming with houses being built and things like that. And we actually moved into our house last June, so we've been in it for about a little over 6 months now, not even a year. And the previous home that we had, which was our first home together, our starter house, we did a lot of work to get top dollar for it, and we, fortunate through all of our efforts and working with a really great real estate team, we were able to get a contract on it in 5 days. So not even a week, we had a contract fully accepted and was, pending. So with that, based on how our home sale went, and also I had my Texas real estate license for a period of time. I actually took many of the courses required to take the exam and more, because that was the direction I was thinking of going. And unfortunately, the timing of it all just didn't work out because I got my license, I passed the exam and started doing everything in real estate in about 2008. So for those of you that might have slept since then, that's when everything kind of went kaput. The housing bubble burst and nobody could sell their homes, nobody could buy a home. I couldn't even hardly get people to be able to lease homes just due to credit, job loss, foreclosures, and things like that. So worst timing ever to get into the real estate business, and unfortunately it didn't last for me. I was not about to quit my full-time job, which I still liked, to do this. So I took a step back, went on to go to school and pursue my degree. So all that being said, I've taken a lot of courses in real estate and just different things like that to know how to make homes sell, what to look for as buyers and things like that. And so between that knowledge and just being very aware of what other homes are selling for in our area and what they look like, I feel like I had a lot of good tips to share with you guys today. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share all this now versus waiting until the springtime, because again, part of the reason I think our home sold so quickly was we put a lot of sweat and elbow grease into getting our house ready for sale. And it wasn't like we just called up the realtor and said, hey, come over tomorrow, we want to list the house. We did do that, but we had already been working on the home well before we even contacted a realtor. So I'm going to cover with you my top tips that you can do to get your home ready to list for sale. And then in a little bit, I'm actually going to show you several images or pictures of our previous home. I'm not going to show you the exterior, of course, because people do live there now, and for their privacy and safety, I'm not going to share, the exterior or the address or anything like that or where it's located. But I will show you the pictures that we had taken on the inside, and just kind of point out some of the things based on the tips that I'm about to cover with you on what you can do to get your home looking excellent for top dollar. So tip number one, I actually have them written here on a little notepad so I don't forget to cover them. But my number one thing, not necessarily any priority or order, but just number one would be to do a drive-by of your home. So when I say do a drive-by, it's literally drive past your house in different directions and look at it. What does the outside say to potential buyers? Is the yard well kept? Do the bushes need to be trimmed? Does your driveway and porch need to be power washed because there's stains and things like that? Just because, for example, our home was an older home. It was built in 1984. So we power washed our driveway and porch, and it made the concrete look, completely bright white. It looked like brand new poured concrete. So just things like that. We went and invested a little bit of money into some mulch at Lowe's, and I think it was like 3 bags for, I don't know, it was like $10 or something like that. So we got like 6 bags of mulch, and we went around our tree bases and our flower beds. We just made everything look fresh and clean. So if you have a lot of, chairs or flower pots and things like that, keep it minimal, get rid of a lot of the clutter, clean it up really nice, wipe your windows down. And it was kind of awkward to walk out there in the end of fall and literally be scrubbing your windows down. But, I got all the rain spots off of it, made it look pristine on the exterior. So that would be tip number one, is do a drive-by of the home and, what is your impression? Try to look at it from a buyer's perspective and not just, this is my house, what would people pick on? And that way you can clean it up. Number two, which is going to fall top on the priorities, is decluttering. We did a lot of this in our older home. Our older home was 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 1 car garage, 1,038 square feet. So it was really, really small. And because it was built in the 80s, the home did not have a lot of storage. It had dinky little tiny closets. And so one of the big things that we had to do, you know, because we knew in order to make this home look and feel bigger, even though it really wasn't, but to look and feel bigger, we decluttered all of our cabinets in our kitchen, our laundry room, our bathrooms, and all of the bedroom and living room closets. We just got rid of anything that we weren't going to need on a day-to-day basis, boxed it up, and moved it out to a storage unit. I mean, because again, if you're looking at it, you kind of have to look at your home sale transaction as like a business transaction. I know a lot of people get very emotionally tied to their homes, but if your plan is to list and sale, you're going to be moving anyway. So why not go ahead and get some of that stuff boxed up, and it makes your home look bigger and more spacious. Another tip would be to lighten up the house. So when I say lighten up, again, open up your blinds. When you have people coming to walk through the house, one of the things that I did, I opened all of the blinds up. I made sure we had some just bright curtains where it let the light in. I turned all the lights on. We're in Texas, so at the time, even in fall, it was still freaking hot outside. So I made sure and turned all the ceiling fans on so that way when they walked in, it was nice, cool, and really bright up inside the house as well as, you know, not just outside. So definitely lighten up the spaces as much as you can. Maybe change out the light bulbs if you've got light bulbs out. Again, change all that stuff out. Make the home feel light and bright. Another thing that you can do, and that doesn't always cost a lot of money, but you can add accents to the home. So when I say adding accents, that might be new hardware, new cabinet pulls, things like that, new light fixtures. Again, our home was built in the 80s, so while they had done some upgrades to the home, you know, the dining room light fixture was still that chandelier brass color. It was really, really tacky. So I went online, I went to Lowe's actually, and they had a very cheap, basic stainless steel that was a definite upgrade from what we had. And it didn't cost us a lot of money, and we had done that previous years before we had sold. So look into seeing what you can do within your budget. If you can't afford to completely renovate the house, that's okay. But if you know there's going to be things that are really stickler for people, like as soon as I saw the house, I knew I hated that brass chandelier, among other things. So if people were going to look now, they're still going to hate it. So we went ahead and made the decision to change it and enjoy the upgrades while we lived there. So look at adding accents where you can. You also want to neutralize. So while you might love that bright red accent wall, unfortunately, that can be very specific for people's taste. You really want to keep everything neutral. So again, when we bought our home, the living room is kind of a brightish yellow color with a hunter green trim along the tray ceiling. And it wasn't our style by any means, and it was just really kind of ugly. And so whenever we got ready to repaint, while I wanted to do color on the walls, I knew we weren't going to be staying in this home for much longer at that point. I think we'd lived in the home like 7 or 8 years at that point. So I knew we were probably going to be planning on moving. And so anyways, we made the decision to pick out a really nice neutral tan color for the wall. It's kind of like a beige, a light beige color. And we painted that throughout the entire house, and we trimmed it with a bright white trim everywhere, so it really popped against that tan wall. So that was one thing, you know, again, it makes it easy for people when they're walking into your house, looking around. It's a neutral palette. People can move any kind of furniture in that, and it'll typically work. So think about paint colors or painting rooms or walls if you need to make sure it's all neutralized. Also, as far as decor goes, putting up mirrors can be a really good thing. Mirrors often can help reflect light and again make the home feel bigger and brighter inside. So that's something you can do, and I'll show you how I did some of that in my old home on the pictures in a little bit. Smells. Okay, this is kind of gross to think about, but you really have to be very aware of how your home smells. I can't tell you, I mean, I didn't do real estate for long, but I went in enough houses with enough buyers where as soon as you open the door, the house just smelled moldy, musty, smelled like dogs or cats or dirty clothes. I mean, again, just be very aware of your smells. Keep it just tidy and clean. I know for us, again, just using my house as an example, we have 3 Boston Terriers. So I'm very aware that some people don't care for animals. I love animals, so that doesn't bother me, but I'm also very aware that when they're coming through my house, one of the things that I told our real estate agent, I want you to walk through our house. And at that point, I had taken my dogs over to my parents' house, but we literally picked up their dog bowls, their toys, their beds, and we moved them in the garage and covered them up to the point that when these people walked in, they had no clue that we even had pets at all because there was no trace or smell of them. So again, if you have pets or any other kind of odors, figure out what you can do to get that cleaned up. Anytime you have showings, don't leave dog food bowls and messy water bowls and dog toys everywhere. Pick all that stuff up, tidy it up if you can. Again, some people are really sensitive. Some people are allergic to, you know, certain animals and things like that. So I wouldn't give them any reason to not want to stay in your home any longer. So again, keep in mind the smell factor. Also, when it comes to feng shui or flow, when you're walking through a home or through your house, if you've got so much furniture that people are literally bumping into armchairs of a couch or something like that, or a table, are there furniture pieces that you can take out? So that way, again, it makes the room feel more spacious, it flows a lot better. That was something we did in our living room. Our living room, we had a coffee table, but because our room was pretty skinny and narrow, we decided just to take that out altogether, and it just helped make the flow of the house a lot easier when people were walking through it. Beautify your bathroom. So people are really particular about kitchens and bathrooms. So both areas, but particularly for your bathroom, make it feel like a spa. You don't have to go crazy and do all these upgrades, but just keep it light, keep it fresh and clean. Again, keep it decluttered, and get some brand new white towels, something that just looks light and fresh. Little touches like that can really go a long way with very little impact to your wallet. Okay, so some reason my camera stopped. I thought it ran out of memory space, but apparently it's still recording. So I'm not sure where it just ended up, but I was talking about beautifying your bathroom and making it feel like a spa. So things like that, keep it clean, keep it light, buy some fresh, linens and things like that just to brighten up the space and things like that. So that's beautifying your room. And then the last thing that I would say is probably one of the biggest tips besides decluttering and depersonalizing is clean the house from top to bottom. Don't do, just a quick wipe down of stuff. I mean, you want to deep clean the home. So if you don't feel like deep cleaning it, at this point, most cities, you can find some kind of house cleaner, especially if it's just one time. I would invest the money to get your home clean. You want to clean everything. I mean, clean down to the baseboards that you probably have never ever clean or never touch. You want to clean your blinds, clean your ceiling fixtures, make sure there's not any dust or things. Clean your refrigerator, clean your bathroom really well, no mold and mildew buildup, like clean everything. Because if you think about it, when you go into a home, do you want to buy somebody's dirty mess? No, nobody wants to do that. So you want to make your home, even if it's not a brand new house, make it feel like it's clean, like a new model home would be. So again, if you don't have the time or energy or willpower to scrub everything down, hire professionals that can come in and get your house really clean, because again, that helps with the smell. It helps just give that home a new, clean feeling, and people love that. That goes a really long way. So look at any other repairs you might want to fix, just, leaking faucets, stuff like that that's going to show up on an inspection. Try to get those things taken care of. And then kind of the last notes that I had made for myself was make sure you get, a really great realtor that you can work with. Preferably somebody that knows the area real well, that's full-time, that's going to be, pretty much available to you when you need to talk to them. And maybe ask around for some recommendations. The way we found our realtor, because of where we live, where we were living, we were pretty remote. I actually saw a realtor that had listed a house and sold the house in our neighborhood on our exact street, exact same floor plan and everything. So when I was looking at the pictures online, I noticed the home was very clean, it was decluttered, but it just looked dated. It still looked like it was in the 80s. And so I was like, if she was able to sell that house real quick, I wonder what they could do with ours that had some upgrades to it. So I called her and her husband. They were a husband and wife team, and we talked over everything. They made some recommendations based on our upgrades of what we should list for, and then we proceeded. So a couple other things beyond working with a real estate agent that I think can be helpful, and I know this video is getting long, so I'm getting close to the picture part of it, but photos. So some real estate agents prefer to take their own photos, and that's okay, and I think it still would have worked fine for us, but we had put a lot of money in upgrading our home, and nowadays people look at houses on their phones and on their computers. They look online. So that's their first impression. If the photos aren't great, they're not even going to bother coming to see your house. So one of the things that we had done kind of as a going away, we knew we were going to be leaving this house at some point, hopefully soon. So we hired a professional real estate photographer to come in and take pictures of our bedrooms. So they had the lighting perfect. They had all the colors of our rooms looking really, really good. It even made some of the bedrooms feel more spacious the way their camera angles were. So it was something our real estate agent didn't include in their fee, but I just personally wanted to do it. Some real estate agents will do that. Ours didn't, but I said, I want y'all to use these photos. They're literally taken a week before they came over, so they were current photos of everything that was in the house. And I have to say, our photos looked amazing compared to something I would have just taken on, you know, my Canon T3i or something like that, because they do all the touch-ups. Not so much photoshopping stuff, but they just make everything look bright and really great. So photos were really important. I'll put a link in the description bar of the company that we used in our area. But again, you can just type in or Google real estate photography. I think ours was like, I want to say it was like $80 and they took 25 photos. So again, it was a chunk of money, but I'm so glad that we did that. And then also think about timing. So this is where you can work with your real estate agent. We listed our house on a Wednesday afternoon. So Wednesday, it got posted online, and by Thursday and Friday, we already had 2 showings. So we had one couple on Thursday that came and looked, and then one couple on Friday, and then by Sunday we had an offer from that Thursday couple. And I just think the timing wise of it, it was getting towards the end of the week where people were getting ready to, you know, go looking for houses on the weekend. I think the timing of that worked out really, really well. So I personally liked, you know, posting or listing kind of middle of the week. I think I would do that again if I could work with a real estate agent and sell our next house if we ever sell this one. So that was something I thought strategically wise was really a good decision, was to post it at the end of the day on Wednesday. We started getting showings Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and by Sunday we had an offer and had accepted. So anyways, I'm going to stop jabbering on. Those are my tips, and then I'm going to show you some pictures of our old home now and kind of just talk briefly about some of the things that you might see in the pictures, that how I applied these tips right here to, you know, help with the sale of our home. So hopefully enjoy. Okay, so this is the, as you can see, the front door to the right of the house. This was getting ready for the photos, but this is how we did it for showings. We opened the blinds up, we turned all the lights on. The couch, which we were keeping, my mom actually helped me. She used some olive oil and wiped down the leather where it was nice and clean and shiny. So yeah, just again, very minimal, very clean, and real bright is what we did for this. So this was from the front door looking into the home. Again, the house is pretty small, but you can see I ran with a pretty neutral color theme on the walls and everything else, but I used accents or pops of color using the orange because it was fall going into winter. So yeah, I used pillows and curtains to kind of match everything to really bring in the pops of color in the neutral setting. So I kept everything very minimal in all the rooms, as you'll see. So this is still in our living room looking into our dining room, but you can tell how narrow the entry point was into the dining room. So we took out the coffee table in the middle of the living room to free up some space and allow for better flow. So that might be something you look at, or as well as any other bulky furniture that you might want to remove. And let's see here, going into our dining room. In our dining room, we kept the same kind of burnt orange curtains that we just helped flow throughout the house to match the color. Everything, again, very neutral. We used the mirror on the wall to reflect light from that giant window into the living and kitchen. So that was something we just bought, a nice mirror at Kirkland's, and put that up. One of the things that the photographer did was pull out the chair, just again to kind of add the look to the photo, which I thought was very creative on her part. And then here you are, another angle of the dining room looking into the kitchen. So all these rooms were, you know, basically one giant room with a divider wall. So it was really small feeling. Again, we kept everything minimal as far as furniture and just necessities, because we had to keep the room feeling spacious as much as possible and allow for ease of flow for buyers to walk through it. But yeah, you can kind of see a pretty good angle of the decorations. Again, I'm not a home decorator, but it's very minimal. In this photo, this is our galley style kitchen. Again, we don't have granite countertops or anything fancy, but we did invest in some silver colored knobs and pulls for the drawers. We updated our faucet, and then we put in some new appliances a few years before we listed the house for sale. Again, we didn't want to put in stainless steel because we knew we wouldn't get our money back, but we found matching black appliances, and that really gave the kitchen a great look. The one thing I wanted to point out in this photo is we're still in the kitchen, but if you look up to the upper middle cabinet at the top, that was actually kind of a makeshift cabinet that the previous buyers had put in. We tried our hardest to match another cabinet for that side of the kitchen, but we couldn't find anything that worked, and it looked really bad. So I turned it into sort of like a wine stop and put in some cute baskets to dress it up as much as possible, because I know that was an eyesore when we looked at it. So things like that, you can get creative. Going in from our kitchen, you go into the laundry room, and again, we kept it very clean, very minimal. This is where our dogs stayed during the day, so you could barely even tell there was any signs of pets in this room. But we've got a cute little rug. I think I got that from Hobby Lobby, and the sign online. And just, again, kept it clean because this is where we had our partially converted garage. So we wanted to make sure that the laundry room looked really nice. We wiped down our washer and dryer, made everything look clean. Taking you into one of the guest bedrooms, this room was actually a pretty good size, but the way, again, talking about how this photographer and her camera angles, she had a wide lens for real estate, and so it just really caught the angle of the bedrooms. I bought some sheer curtains, so again, it lets in that gorgeous sunlight into the room, making it feel a little bit more spacious and roomy. This was the middle bedroom. This room was so tiny, it almost shouldn't have been called a bedroom, because maybe a nursery, it would have been good for a nursery, but for us, we used it as an office space and kind of a part-time storage rooms that a lot of people never went into. So when we got ready to sell the house, we packed up all the excess stuff that we were using to store in this room and kept it simple with a nice desk chair, some, again, kind of bright curtains that let the light in, and yeah, very minimal in this room. This was our master bedroom, and I had purchased new neutral bedding at Target that you see here. We didn't even have a headboard on our bed at the time, so I had this mirror, again, kind of used the mirrors to reflect light. I hung that above the walls. You'll notice I actually have personalized photos on each side of our lamps, which I did take down and swap out some pictures that were just random pictures, because again, I wanted to keep it non-depersonalized, so that might be a good tip, is to take down personal photos. Again, just another angle of the room, have a nice big window, so we opened up the curtains and let that light shine in. You'll notice the room was very small. I think it was like 11 by 13. So for a master bedroom, if you had a dresser or anything else like that, it would not fit. So we made it work when we lived there, but we actually took out quite a bit of furniture in this room to make it feel spacious, because it was not spacious at all. So that was just a tip I would recommend if you have a small room, take stuff out. This was our only bathroom in the house, and so my mom actually sews. She has her own website on Etsy, or at her own shop, so I'll include that link for you in case you're curious. But she had made this curtain for me just to give a pop of color, kind of worked with that corally orange theme that I had going through the house. So she did that for me, and very simple accents. You'll notice nothing's on the countertop. Everything is wiped down and very clean. Again, cleanliness and declutter really helps with bathrooms. Just another angle of our bathroom. You'll notice we added the hardware to the drawers. I had wiped down our very basic laminate countertop where it was nice and clean, made it look really big. We took all the stuff off and put it under the drawers and the cabinets whenever we left for showings. We added this mirror, so it wasn't that much more to add this mirror that we got. I forgot where we got the mirror from, but it just had a nice frame around it. And again, matching towels just to give it that tied-in look. So with that said, hopefully you enjoyed the tour of our first home, our starter home. We really loved our home. It was small, which was one of the big reasons and motivators as to why we got ready to move. And on top of it being an older neighborhood, it was a little bit run down and just kind of some sketchy people living there, to be quite honest. So we knew we enjoyed our home for the 10 plus years that we lived in it, but it was time to go. So we knew in order to get top dollar for it, we really needed to, like I said, put in the sweat, blood, and tears and the elbow grease to get it looking really good. And we didn't completely remodel it from top to bottom, but we did what we could within our budget and made sure, again, it was decluttered, depersonalized, cleaned really well, and found a top-notch real estate agent that was going to kick butt when it came to, contract negotiations and things like that. So hopefully you enjoyed these tips. If you did and you found them helpful, give it a big thumbs up in this video. And I would love for you to leave comments down below and mention any other tips that you might have that I could have left out. I know this video is a little bit long compared to my other ones, but there was just a lot to cover. So if you've recently sold a home or even in the past and you have tips for any other sellers that you think would be helpful, please add those below. As well as if you have any other recommendations for future videos for me to share with you guys, please feel free to make some suggestions in the comments below as well. So be sure and subscribe for future videos on all things money, and I'll see you next time. Bye.